Hey guys, I wanted to give you a little bit more explanation on the timed writing number 3 that's going to be due tomorrow, Friday, April 10th by midnight. So to get to the instructions for the timed writing, you're going to go to Assignments in Sakai, and you're going to click on timed writing number 3. And once you click on that, it's going to take you to the assignments, and you'll see that there's a Word document there that you can click on, and it's going to give you the instructions. So for this timed writing, you're going to basically be practicing what you're going to be doing for the annotated bibliography. So when you do the actual annotated bibliography, you're going to be doing 3 sources. For the timed writing, you're only going to be doing 1 source, but this will give you practice for what you need to do for the annotated bibliography. And the source that you use in the timed writing, you can ultimately use as well in your annotated bibliography. So to get started, first, you're going to need to find a source, and for this assignment, I'm requiring that you find it from the Durham Tech databases. So if you haven't done so already, there's a video in resources for this week that's called Miss Bell's Lecture on Searching Databases. So if you haven't watched that yet and taken notes on it, you should do so because that's going to help you be successful in finding a source. So once you watch that video and you've found your source, then what you need to do for the actual assignment is first you need to create an MLA works cited citation, and the databases have a citation tool that will help you generate a citation, so you don't need to build it from scratch. But keep in mind that citation tool doesn't always make the citation perfectly, so you still need to double check the citation. After you have your citation, then beneath it you're going to type a paragraph, and you're going to include the following things in the paragraph. So even though I list this as bullet points, you're not going to bullet point your response. Yours is going to be a paragraph, and I'm going to show you an example in a second. So the first thing you need in your paragraph is a brief summary of the source, and that's going to be 4 to 6 sentences. So that's where you're just going to tell me what the source is about and the main points of the source. So remember, for a summary, you want to write in present tense, and you don't want to include your opinion. You're just reporting on what the source is about. The next thing that you're going to include is a critical evaluation. And that's 2 to 3 sentences where you basically explain to me, why do you trust the source? So do you trust the source because it's written by experts? Do you trust the source because it uses other credible outside sources? Use specific language here. Don't just tell me you trust the source because it's credible. That doesn't tell me anything. Tell me why you trust the source. The next thing you need to include is 1 to 2 sentences providing background information on either the publisher or the author. So if you have an author, tell me about that author and who they are. Or if you don't have an author, then tell me about the place where it was published. And this information might not be right in the source. It will probably require you to do a little bit of digging online. The next thing that you need to include is a potentially usable quote, an explanation of why that quote is relevant, and then an in-text citation if you need it. So a potentially usable quote means a direct quote from the source that you could maybe later use in your research paper. An explanation of its relevance is referring to that bottom piece of bread in the quotation sandwich. If we go back and think about the quotation sandwich that we learned about this week, that's the sentence following the quote where you explain how the quote connects to your research question, why it's relevant. And finally, an in-text citation refers to that little citation in parentheses that comes after a quote, and in that citation you're going to include the author's last name and the page number if you have that information. If you don't have a page number, then you can't include it. If you keep scrolling down, you can see the rubric for how I'll grade you for the timed writing. And after each bullet point, you can see how much each section counts. So the MLA citation is worth 20, the summary is worth 20, the critical eval is worth 10, the background information is 10, a potentially usable quote is 10, grammar and spelling, and then the academic voice, so that means like clarity, if you use transitions well, those are each worth 10, and then you get 10 points just for having a source from the database that's relevant to your research question. I know that I'm calling this a timed writing, but you're not actually going to be timed for this assignment. You have the deadline of midnight on Friday, but you don't have to complete the assignment in an hour and 15 minutes like you did in class. I just kept the name timed writing since we were used to that name for the assignments. If you have any questions or if you're struggling with finding a source for this assignment, please contact me and I will help you out. Thanks. Oh, sorry, I told you I'd show you an example. Let me pull that over. Okay, so this is an example of what your annotated bibliography. And so also your timed writing should look like, because your timed writing is mimicking the annotated bibliography. So you can see first that the student has the citation, and then beneath the citation is the paragraph that includes all the information that I've asked for. If you want to take a look at this annotated bibliography sample, just to get a better idea, you can find that as well under resources, and it is in week 3. So if you go to week 3 and you click on annotated bibliography student sample, you can look more closely at what that's going to look like. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you guys online. Thanks.